Hello, people, and welcome to Fishy Plant Man 2.0. How about that? That sounds like a title, actually. Fishy Plant Man 2.0. Yep, new location. Okay, so what has happened? Well, new location, clearly. Okay, so yeah, new location. The lucky bamboo has drastically been cut back. I wasn't interested in dealing with potentially 8-foot canes, trying to get them into this new location. So I just cut everybody back. And the longest cane is now that. So it's kind of like a large dendrobium, I guess. Yeah, large. It will get huge. It will become a huge dendrobium. As I've said in the past, I've referred to the lucky bamboo as the poor man's dendrobium. Kind of looks like a dendrobium to me. If I got my orchid right, the caned orchids, dendrobiums. Boy, if I really hope I got that right. If not, well, okay. So, everybody got cut back. The experiment is still here. This one, I'm touching an extension that's came off. Got cut there, and then just below it there's an extension starting. It's going to be allowed to get up to about here, or a little higher, and then cut back to there to kind of keep it bushy. This one will be allowed to go skyward. There's not going to be, because there's not a lot of room to walk here. I don't want canes out where they can be bumped. So, probably not quite as sprawled out as they were. This one, these 3 sticks sticking up, well, there's 4. There's that plant there. This one rested on the other side of the 55 in its own filter. Well, this is like a 10-gallon tank. Not even half of the 55, because that hood came off of a 55, and you can see it's hanging over the edge. So a 10 gallon's not even half as big as a 55. Not even close when you consider some other dimensions. But that's okay. There's no room for both. I guess I could put one on the front, but no. So I just took out the sponge and the bracket holding it, and the roots are all entangled in that. So I just put the sponge in the tank. This little fish tank's going to be a little over-filtered. So, yeah, I thought maybe of putting like a dwarf gourami in here. Considered a betta, but they've got this habit, this terrible habit of finding a way to destroy their fins. I don't get it, but they seem to make a habit of it. So I was thinking maybe like a dwarf gourami. That might be good. I know the little 3-spot gouramis. Well, I don't know them well. I have known of one. A friend of mine had it in her fish tank. Guess I'll call her. Yeah. And it was bullying everything. She comes to me and says, "Would you put this in with Black? This gourami's bullying all my fish." And I said, "Well, Black is an Oscar. He will probably not eat it because that's not really his forte, but he will kill it." little, like, 1.5 inch Rami and a 11-inch Oscar. So she said, I don't care. I just want it out of my tank, and I don't want to flush it down the toilet. If Black wants to make a meal out of it, that's better than a pointless kill. I said, okay. So I put it in the tank, and it goes over and it bullies this fish that's 10 times its size. And I thought, no wonder she wants it out of the tank. And yeah, it ended up dead. Not eaten, but dead. It had a chance, because Black was a really mellow Oscar. And, matter of fact, he had a convict friend, called him Lucas, a play on Lucky. He was lucky to be the only fry that wasn't eaten. Because he would eat fish, but very small fish. Talk about bullies. If it got to be about 2 inches, he would no longer eat it. So the Grammy was the right size, but he wasn't going to have a bully in his tank. He was the king of the tank. Lucas knew the rules. He lived. Grammy? Yeah. I guess he should have asked about the rules. Anyway, that's the little story on 3 fish that are dead. Black is dead, the Grammy's dead, Lucas is dead. 2 of the 3 died of old age. Anyway, boy, was that a tangent that I went off on. So, yeah, another Grammy. This time, the Grammy can be the ruler. But, yeah. The one that's going straight, I hope it continues to go straight, because I've looked into it, and Lucky Bamboo apparently is a type of Dracaena, which is more of a tree. But okay. The resource says that Lucky Bamboo is a type of Dracaena, and it gets about 8 feet tall. Okay, I'll buy all of that, at least until I prove it wrong. So, 8 feet tall. Well, let's see here. Goes up to here, and that one kind of goes over to there. But it can go up, 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 up. Oh, there's the beam. Up, up. And there's where it curves over to the ceiling. So, yeah. It can grow. And I'm going to let it grow as long as it doesn't flop over and get unruly. I will let it grow, and we'll see just how tall bamboo can get. Lucky Bamboo can get. There's bamboos out there that get, crazy tall. But this is only supposed to get to about 8 feet. Well, there's enough room there, I think. So, that's that. And anything that gets unruly will be cut back. So, as far as this little tank goes, I decided to downgrade because 55-gallon tank, it was one thing when the albino Oscar was in the tank. But again, we're talking about a mellow Oscar. I got a feeling that when you feed Oscars pellets and don't give them a whole lot of live food, they have a tendency to be mellower than, Oscars that hunt down goldfish their whole life of, 7 years or whatever. They don't seem to have the longest life when they eat goldfish all the time. Anyway, that's another tangent that I'm not going to go on. But we've gone down. Everybody has moved over here, except for the yellow experiment that was on the brick for a while. um, it ended up with rot and went out under the roses. There's like 2 roses out there that it went under, but it's supposed to be a rose bed. The deer think it's a buffet, so so the yellow one went out under the roses, and we're at a small tank. How is that going to affect my feeding? Well, this tank probably has a lot of ammonia in it right now, because while I kept the sponge wet and I kept that filter wet, there's a whole lot less, okay, we'll go with it, whole lot less bacteria. Because all the bacteria on that 55's glass, gravel, none of that came over. Just what's on the sponges and in the filter. So there's probably still a decent amount of ammonia, because that's about all I detect on the city water is a certain amount of ammonia. But it will break down. We'll get our nitrates back, because that's kind of the point of the fish tank is natural nitrates. And it's not exactly all natural anymore, considering I've gone to the marine aquarium salt. Yeah, that thing that I think most people think that I'm probably stupid. There's only a handful of plants that can survive in salt water. Yeah, well, it's not salt water. It's just a little bit to introduce a whole bunch of elements. Calcium, magnesium, iron, nickel, whole bunch. Because corals need it. So, yeah, we're continuing with that. How much marine aquarium salt can I add, and it be beneficial before it's not beneficial and starts killing things? I mean, it would be a real effective, like, weed killer at, full strength or briny. Raise brine shrimp for your flamingos. Yeah. So that's what's continuing on, but I think this is a much better scene to look at. I like it a lot better than what I had. So, welcome to Fishy Plant Man 2.0. Okay, we'll show you the little glass craters. I'll zoom in on them. We've got a seal, a little frog, coral, some kind of a goose creature, which is, better viewed at a distance, another frog, another seal. You can call it a sea lion if you want, but I think it's a seal. And another seal. This little guy's kind of funny. He's like a pup compared to the other 2. And he was turned around like everybody else, but that root grabbed him. And he spun around and he looked at the root. And now he doesn't trust that orchid root. He thinks it's going to get him. So he has to keep an eye on it. Let's see if we can get a better shot of him. There's a shot of him keeping an eye on that root so it doesn't get him again. Like I said, I had him kind of straight, so he was looking like mother, if you would like. But then I was putting the heater into the tank, and the roots got tangled up with him. And it just so happened that when everything was said and done, he was looking at the root. So I think that's kind of funny, and I left him like that. He's got to keep an eye on that root, make sure it doesn't get him again. Okay, So, yeah, there's the glass pets. And that's the only reason I showed him to you, is because of him. He doesn't trust that root anymore. It just cracks me up to think about the little story that accidentally developed when I was setting things up. So, we've got that. We've got some seashells up here. Now to get to the stars of the show, the orchids. We've got this one, which has always lived on this end of the hood. I took the flap off because, well, it just needs to be off. And it's not doing anything right now. Still got its spike. It's got some leaves. It started a couple of roots before the heater went wonky and I couldn't trust it anymore, so it started getting cold. Spent some nights down below 60, and I think the lowest it got was 50 Fahrenheit, which, if you give me a moment, I'll turn 50 Fahrenheit into, looks like about 15 Celsius. Very cold for Phalaenopsis. But it pulled through. It's a trooper. I think it's going to be just fine. And here's the 911 plant that tried real hard to die recently, but it came back. It even has a keiki. It's getting a drink from the kitchen at the moment. And here we've got this one. Its leaves never really recovered, but they didn't die. That's kind of what it's doing. It'll probably get a drink from the kitchen before too long. Pretty much everybody after the video needs a drink. And yes, they share water, but these orchids, well, that one's older than the channel. This one's older than the channel. And I think it's this one that's kind of Vandaceous-like in a way. I think it's the other white one that is older than the channel. And I think these two hanging off the tank, I think those are newer. I think one's, actually I think they're both purple, different kinds of purple. So I got like 3 purple ones and 2 white ones, I think. The yellow one died, I know that. So that's the deal with the orchids. Here's the, wow, aloe vera. I showed it when I got it. This is basically what it's done since then. Some calcium, and it doesn't matter. Bottles of like a Riptone and calcium. Okay, fine. That's what those are. And a chessboard. Gotta have my chessboard. So, that's the full update on, well, the plants that have found their way over here so far. There's still some others, and they'll probably all be kind of crowded into this little area. The humidity's a little over 50 right now, and that's kind of why they're crowded into this area. I want the humidity from the tank to kind of act as a humidifier, but not up to like 90 and 100% that I was getting. In the cold temperatures, some well, like mold, I said, had started in. Took out the yellow one, was growing on this one. I think this one's going to be just fine. It's a very healthy, healthy being a relative term. um, but I think everybody else is going to do fine. It was just too humid and cold without being able to trust a heater. Um, yeah, that trailer. Oh, God, that trailer. I don't want to think about that trailer. We're not going to talk about that trailer. It needs a 2.0, and I think it'll get it eventually. But, so, that is Fishy Plant Man 2.0, and hopefully, I don't know how the temperature and everything's going to work, but hopefully we will get some spikes soon, and this little area will turn into a flowering area. I think that the new location in itself should trigger that. I'm hoping it will. Okay. Talk to you next time.